Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Monday's Wealth Creation Show, and we are going to be talking about problem solving. And this is quite an interesting one, actually. I'm quite excited to talk about this because you made a quite a good statement, Jim, and it was about, if you pick the wrong problem, you won't get the right answer. And you left that with me, and I kind of thought I had to go and look into it because I thought I don't kind of get my head around that. But it makes sense once you kind of look into it, and we're going to talk
all
about
my problems started out as a good intention.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's true. It's asking yourself the right questions, especially if you've got a problem, and with whatever it is. It could be life in general. It could be your situation. It could be your business. It could be your employer. It could be anything. It could be finance. But sometimes we ask the wrong question.
Yeah.
And often that's we give ourselves the wrong answer, and therefore it's like, how did this not work? It's like, because you never asked the right question and it never gave you the right answer, therefore you implemented the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Kodak. Look at Kodak. Where is Kodak now with film?
Go on.
Aye. Because they didn't ask themselves about, Kodak, by the way, actually, Kodak developed a digital camera way before everybody else.
Really?
But Kodak, yeah, absolutely. Kodak developed a digital camera before everybody else, and they shelved it for fear that it would wipe out their film industry. What, did they not think anybody else would do it then? So they didn't ask themselves the right question about whether this is the future. They probably they led in fear and thought, if we hide this and don't tell anybody about it, then no one will develop it. And Sony came along and ate their lunch, and Nikon and Canon and all these different people, like, woohoo, opportunity on the horizon. And that's because they didn't ask the right question. Timex. Nobody wants digital watches. It's like, my God, you idiots. I mean, that was a Dundee business, Timex. And it wiped itself out because they didn't think anybody would want digital. Crazy. Yeah, never asked themselves the right questions.
And what's funny as well is, like, I don't know if you can see mine when I do that.
Yep.
But mine's still, but my face on it's still the face of a clock, but it's digital. I have it as that because it's like.
Yeah. You got a Timex?
No.
No, right. Because Timex does exist, but somebody bought the name. Just like somebody bought Polaroid. Look at Polaroid, Instamatic cameras as well. It's like, did they not see that coming with the digital camera? No, they did see it coming, but they just refused to accept the fact that people, oh well, why would I spend all that money and wait for a photograph to appear? And it's, if I could just take a photograph on a digital camera and just like, oh, that's not good enough, let's take it again. How did they not work that out?
I know.
That's crazy, because they had when you think about the logic of that, we'll go back to our business, starting a business. When you think of the logic about that, you think they would have thought to themselves, it's about evolution in terms of what we're doing. So we've got a huge brand following because it's Polaroid. Why do we not then evolve into digital?
Yeah.
And then that's even better for our existing customer base. So they refuse to believe that their customer would desert them. And it's like, why would they know? It's like, I've got it on my phone now. Better than anything.
And change, and as you say, evolution and things is just a normal part of how things move forward. And a lot of people don't like change, and that's what holds them back. And possibly the change then brings up problems, but then people lose sight of, if you've got a problem, people automatically associate it with such a negative thing. Whereas you could actually flip it on its head and think, right, okay, and get excited about finding the solution to the problem.
We're not taught. I don't think we're taught to solve. We're taught to solve problems like maths at school and stuff like that. What's Pythagoras' theorem? A plus B equals, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. It's like, when have I ever used that? But so when you think about the logic of that, if we're we're taught that, but we're never taught how to problem solve in reality, in real life.
Yeah.
If you've got
The
examples,
challenges that are thrown at you. Yeah.
yeah, it's that sort of thing. So the easiest way to start with a problem is actually just define what the problem is first. What is actually the problem? Now, yeah, okay. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Every time I went down to see my mum, I used to fall out with her every single time, as soon as I walked in the door.
Okay.
Now, how is that? Now that, believe it or not, that's probably that's probably the same case for quite a lot of families or a lot of people. They would fall out with a father or a mother or something like that. They just butted heads all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to think it was my mum that was the problem. But then I started to ask myself some better questions. And I realized it was me. It was the problem. Because I used to have it in my head, and this is assumptions and preconceptions again,
Yeah.
about the story it was going to unfold before I even got in the door when I was driving down to see my mum.
Yeah. That sounds
And what
familiar.
used to make it worse is I would turn to someone else and give them a relay the story about what could happen, and they almost agreed with me. It's like, yeah, this is what it's going to be like. So when I got in the door, it was like, well, be like that then, and then turn away and then just go
Like
home.
you always
Like,
made it
and
happen.
my mum's sitting going, what are you talking about? It's like, because it's a classic example in social media as well. You see it on social media quite a lot, where somebody says something and someone else interprets it in a different way.
Yeah.
See that? And then there's a fight online. It's like, what? I mean, I said something about Glastonbury Run. Okay, so I'm just back for Glastonbury. And before that, I was talking about the Glastonbury Run, get everybody involved in Glastonbury, to come along for a fun run. And one guy said, it's like, oh, I wouldn't do that because of the land.
What does it mean, like the
I don't know, and I
unevenness
just
something?
left it, and I thought, well, I'm not bothered. It's like I wouldn't do that because of the land. Okay, fine, that's fine. But a girl jumped on and she decided to say, oh, but why just come along and run? And I went to her reply. I went, oh, it doesn't matter. You know, he obviously doesn't want to run or something like that. It's like we'll have a great time running together, in the team and or walking or whatever it is. End up at the side of their bus. That sort of thing, because that's where it ends, the side of the bus. So you go for a fun run and get lashed at the end of it. 9 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning. Side of the bus opens at 9:45. And that's effectively what we're doing. So we'll have fun. We'll have fun running anyway. We don't need him. I never said we don't need him like that. And then he comes on and went, and it was a Saturday morning, and I thought, that's why the response. He come on and went, what's that meant to me? And I'm like, wait, notice how I'm putting an interpretation on that. That's how I heard it. What's that meant to mean? Because that's what the voice said. What's that meant to mean? How is he meant to interpret that? But it's Saturday morning, so obviously he's probably lashed and getting over his hangover for the night before, and therefore he's pretty irritated in the morning and grumpy when he got up.
Yeah.
What's that mean to mean? And I went, well, I'm not going to interpret this for him. I went, well, what do you think it means? And he went, well, you're silly and all the rest of it, and da-di-da-di-da, and made some up humongous story. And I went, I never said that. That was you that said that.
You've just
And then he elevated again, because I said, that was you that said that, not me. He elevated it again to say, well, you're an idiot and all the rest of it. A bit more volatile this time. And the response, I went, you maybe need to look at yourself in the mirror and say that to yourself then. Because I've not said anything, but we'll have fun running. And then he ended up threatening me.
That's amazing.
You keyboard warriors, he said.
Is that a hero?
Warriors, hide behind, you'll never say that to my face. And I felt like saying, well, you know where I'm going to be. It's going to be Thursday at 9 o'clock at the Lizard stage. You're going to be there as well. So you can come and see me and I'll say it to your face. But I thought, did it be daft, Jim? That's just stupid.
But it's a really good
example. Things I would say, I'll be at Lizard stage at 9 o'clock to see me.
That is a really good example about where the problem lies in that conversation, and it's how things were misinterpreted way back at the beginning.
There you go.
Yeah.
All I said was that, and then I said at the end, do you hear yourself? all I've said, and I copied that lassie's response, is we'll have fun running together. and you're now threatening me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that was the last I heard them. He's stupid enough to leave it there to you. Eh? Who does that? You would delete that thinking I'm an idiot.
Once he's sobered up, so I'll take that off. That was a bit.
Oh no, you would not. It's left. It's been left, and I'm not. I easy one for me. This is a real top tip for social media. If you can't be bored with, is make your comment, but go straight into the three dots at the top and say, don't show me anything on this thread after that.
Yeah.
So it's like making your comment in a group and then walking away, and no one can say anything. You don't hear them anymore. So that's the best way to comment. If you're going to make a comment and you don't want the hassle factor or any reply or anything like that, you're just like, this is just my opinion. You just do that, and then you do the three dots at the top, and you say, don't notify me any notifications on this post from now on. And that way, you've walked away for the conversation.
Do you know, I think a lot of people do that, and there's a lot of comments or things, posts and things that I've read, and you see somebody come in and say something, and there's so much after it, and I think that person's never replied. They must have switched off.
They do that, yeah. They deliberately do that, yeah. They're no daft, and that's the easiest way to get their goat. That's easy. If you want to wind somebody up, that's the easiest way to do it. Say some outrageous opinion, and then just never reply to them, because they'll be checking every. Like, is this boy been back on? Is this boy been back on? Is this boy been back on?
It could be viewed as kind of gaslighting everybody, I suppose. But anyway.
Yeah, but how does that solve anybody's problem then, if that's the case? That's the thing. And this is what happens. It's misinterpretations, it's miscommunication. It usually causes all the problems in the first place. And we need to be a more proactive approach. We need to teach young children to do that as well. A more proactive approach to solving their problems, and not, for God's sake, not letting the AI solve it for them.
Yeah, and be able to be taught or learn how to identify what the actual real problem is and deal with that properly will save you so much time and so much effort. And if you're spending all your time concentrating on trying to solve a problem, but you're not even looking at the right source of the problem or like the origin of the problem, then you're going to then waste all that time on that and miss the opportunities where you could have developed your own skills and problem solving, basically. That makes sense.
See, and you've been witness to this before. See the amount of times I actually am about even a quarter through my response for a question that's come from someone. I'm a quarter through the response, and somebody jumps in to actually give me the solution, and I'm like, whoa! But I've not actually finished what I'm about to say. So how do you know what I'm? How do you know what I've just said to give me that solution? How is that entirely possible? But I did that a couple of weeks ago, and a sales meeting jumped in, and it's like, okay, that is not the solution to what I was just about to say. So how would you know? You're formulating a solution or an answer to something I've actually not even said yet. That's my mum thing. That's me. Somebody actually thinking it. That's the answer and going through it in their head before I've actually got to it.
Yeah.
It's like the classic example about, and you'll know the answer to this anyway, but how many animals in unison, each time in unison, how many animals each time in unison did Moses take into the ark? Now, most people at this point will be shouting two.
Two, yeah.
Yeah, but Moses never took any animals into the ark. It was Noah.
Yeah, it was Noah's ark.
So see how you get caught out with that, and you actually think, oh, I've got the answer to that, and everybody wants to give the answer, myself included. We always think we've got the answer to something before anybody finishes, and you're just eagerly awaiting. You're not even listening to anybody anymore. You've gone into speaking mode, and you've lost listening mode completely. And this person's still going on about what they're going on about their question or elaborating. And you see these classic examples in The Apprentice when they go round and Alan Sugar sends them round to see maybe I don't know Butlins or something like that, and they say, could you define the brief? and then they're busy defining exactly what they want out of the service that they're supposed to provide. And immediately you've got people jumping in with their assumptions about, oh, so you're wanting this and wanting that. And it's like, wait a minute, you're not even listening to them. And on occasion, you have actually heard them saying, it's like, I've not actually finished what I'm about to say. And lo and behold, you know, when it all goes tits up, for want of a better phrase at the end, Pete Tong is probably a more appropriate term. Pete Tong, all goes Pete Tong. When we edit that bit out, no chance. But when I go with Pete Tong at the end, then you think to yourself, I'm no surprised because they weren't listening.
Yeah. Yeah, listening is quite I mean, it's a really key element to being able to solve a problem, because you need to listen to, but like you say, if you're not listening to information about what is the problem, then how are you going to solve it? And people are eager to jump in, and I've been there myself, and like you say, Jim, you've been there yourself as well. You're just so eager to jump in and give the solution that you think is the solution, but you've not even listened to all the info. So yeah.
It's also the amount of time it gets wasted trying to solve the wrong problem.
Mm-hmm.
Huge resources. Oh my God, see the amount of times in industry, when I was in manufacturing, when we were looking at the wrong things, and people were coming up with the right idea. Even at the council, when I sat on the private sector housing strategy board with the council, oh my God, when they used to come up with all the different things, I'm like, oh my God, the time is getting wasted with people going away looking at things that are completely irrelevant to the task at hand.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like people just wanted to do something for the sake of. This is one thing. Stop doing something for the sake of doing it. If you've not got something constructive to say, or if you've not got something constructive to add or value add in what you're doing, you're better saying nothing and listening than saying something.
Yeah,
You're better just listening. I read it previously in The Virgin Way, Richard Branson.
Yeah.
The amount of meetings he sat in, he says actually sometimes it's like you're better just not saying anything than saying something that's no anything to do with the subject at all, or taking everybody down a completely different track. Now, I'm a big fan. This is not to negate the fact that I'm a big fan of brainstorming, and the very fact that if somebody said something, it could set someone else off in the right direction. But you've got to be careful you don't go in the wrong direction because that person says something. And I'm a classic example of that. That's why when you're the leader, you probably want to speak last. I know it's difficult for me sometimes, very difficult for me, because I think I'm always right.
I think anybody that thinks they're always right, I think, is wrong.
I think I'm always right at that time, but then I realised later on, no, I probably wasn't right. Mm-hmm. So now, notice how it says I probably wasn't right. I don't say I'm wrong. It's a different way of saying it. Yeah. Like, you don't tell yourself you're a failure or you failed. You just tell yourself you didn't pass.
Mm-hmm.
And that to other people sounds really. There's people out there that will be listening to this or watching this saying that's mental. I mean, what's the difference?
It's like that's amazing how that's a real difference. How you say things, yeah.
Telling yourself you're a failure all the time is not healthy. Telling yourself you didn't pass, yeah, which means there's an opportunity to pass it next time.
Mm-hmm.
That's how important that is. That's how important the way you talk to yourself in here, the wee mind, the wee voice at the back of your head. Everybody's got it. The wee voice at the back of your head tells you what makes you think you're so special, imposter syndrome, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's like, are you really good at this? Oh, you're fat. Who's had that voice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the state of you. We tell ourselves that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't healthy, and that ain't helping us. So it's about focusing on the root causes. Addressing prevention possibly is better than cure, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. It's like heading things off at the pass. It's like, oh, I know where this is going. It's like, well, let's channel it. It's better to grow the tree at the beginning and straighten the tree at the beginning than try to straighten it towards the end. You know how they do with bonsai?
Yeah, they manipulate it so that it grows
Yeah.
a certain way. Yeah.
So that's how they do it. They manipulate it to grow exactly how they want it to. So that's effectively what you're trying to do in the very beginning when you're growing a business and you're problem solving as well. You're trying to head things off at the past. You're not trying to get to the end and then realize it's like, wait a minute, we should have done X, Y, and Z 3 months ago.
It's too late now. And hindsight's a great thing, but sometimes it's...
Now, if you have done that, then you learn by it, which is a great opportunity to learn by your mistakes. Because failure will probably teach you more than actually success. Just make sure it's not catastrophic.
Yeah.
And if it is, get up and dust yourself off and go
Start
for it
again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always keep saying. It's like, if I lost everything tomorrow, I just start again. I just keep doing the same thing because I know it works, and I just know how I lost it. So
Yeah.
I just know do that bit. I just learn from that bit and think, oh, I'll no do that then. I'll no resign myself to the fact that, oh, I'm 58 years old. I'm on the heap. I'm not gonna. It's like, wait a minute, I'm only halfway through here. It's like,
See, it's all good.
I haven't got an intention to live to 120. I'm only halfway through here. I've got another 60 years to go at this. So I think I could do something better with the knowledge and expertise I've learned from all the failure I've done before.
Do you know, I think it's a big thing about perception and things as well. Like you mentioned about age there and how people think about, can you think that, like, some people think, oh, I'm 58. And you might have thought of it, but you've got quite a positive outlook, and you're like, I'm 58, I've got loads of time left.
Right.
But you know, well, there's 20 years between us, and sometimes I think, God, I'm 38, I've got so much more still to achieve, and this and that, and I'm like, I've still got lots of time to do it.
You've got a good 60 years yet.
Yeah, I know.
You're only 38. Oh my God! If you could do everything faster than what you learned in 38 years in the next 60 years, my God, it's like there's a golden opportunity there, definitely. And that's what no one realizes. Yeah. You tend to make your most and you tend to be more successful from 40 years upwards. Most people do. I mean, you've got obviously the unicorns like Sergey Brin and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Larry Page from Google and Zuckerberg, Facebook, stuff like that. You've got the unicorns, but not everybody's like that. The majority of people will be successful, moderately successful, for 40 years onwards, because it's all the mistakes and all the things to learn from the past. And then when you get later on, you become like a cat and you didn't give a shit about anything.
And you're quite you're a lot more resilient and not.
Yeah, you start off like a happy dog. You'll believe everything. You just jump about and all the rest of this place, and you'll love everybody, and you're a happy dog, and it's like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great, this is great. And then when you get older and older and older, you develop into a cat, and it's like, no, I couldn't give a shit. I'm just doing
it. Yeah, I could relate to that.
Sorry, what did you say? I'm not listening anymore. You know, because you now know it's been the happy dog in the beginning. It's held you back because you've begun, oh, maybe not do that, I'm a bit scared at that. And whereas cat just like,
I mean,
when you think about it, look at it this way. This is the two analogies I talk, the dog and the cat. When the dog damages something, it runs for cover and just pretends it never saw it and hides it. When a cat damages something, it sits on top of it and goes, yeah, I've done that.
And owns it, yeah.
As if to say, it's like what you got to do about it.
Yeah.
So you need to be more cat-like in the way you are, and resilient. I would say I would do that. Yeah, we got sidetracked, but I saw it on a post the other day, and I thought that's a brilliant analogy.
That's quite good. But I think but like problem solving comes into, I mean, every aspect of your life, whether you want it to or not. I mean, there's always some sort of obstacle where you need to think about the solution, and that in essence is problem solving. And do you know, we've spoke about obviously the not identifying the root of the problem and wasting your time and resources and things as well. There's quite a lot there involved. And there's something I did want to talk to you about, and you mentioned it already, but you were like, every problem is born from a good idea.
Yeah.
And when I looked into that, and it's like it come up with this, and it was the ugly baby syndrome. You ever heard of that?
No.
So I just thought it was quite interesting, and it's like, and it says,
I could imagine the ugly baby syndrome will be something like beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and you think your baby's beautiful, but most other people are like, ugly.
Well, this is the definition, obviously, because it come up when I was researching this, and it refers to the tendency for creators to be overly protective of their ideas, even when they are not that well received by others, and this could lead to frustration and difficulty
That's
in getting
the
the idea.
refusal to change.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think it's quite a, I think the analogy, you talk about the ugly baby syndrome, but even if a baby's ugly, if it's your baby, you're going to love it anyway.
The amount of times I've actually volunteered feedback, my unwanted opinion about how somebody's business is, and the ugly baby syndrome's come into account. It's like they don't want to hear it because it's like their baby.
Yeah, I've spent all my time.
I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested in what you've got to say, but my personal experience is this. Now, you know, by personal experience, is I don't operate like that. I tend to even criticize my own baby.
Yeah,
quite a lot, actually.
Where it's necessary, yeah.
Absolutely, because I want perfection. I do realise that will never be achieved. No one achieves that. There's only one man or woman or whatever you say, and that person died on the cross, as far as everybody knows in religion. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But I kind of think it's like that, if that is real. So the pursuit of perfection, I tend to criticise my baby as well. But Branson does that as well. I know that because I sat with him and he said that. You know, first thing he said was, when I goes, Virgin Voyages was absolutely brilliant, Rockstar service is magic, and he went, what could we improve?
Always looking
first words out his mouth. What could we improve? And I went, now you mention it. He says, have a think about it. Meet me on the couch at so and so when we're at the beach hut, and we'll have a, you know, I'll take a couple of notes. So remind me because I've not got anything on with it. We're out cycling. Remind me because I've not got anything on with it now. And so I reminded him later on. We had a wee chat, and I says, "Oh, we could do this and you could do that." So I'd be interested to see if it was actually implemented. I'll find out actually in November. Anyway, so that's the sort of thing you've got to be. You've got to be bold enough to actually take that criticism. Now, when people criticise you, it really needs to be done one-to-one. It can't be done on a public forum. So if you're a troll, it's a ban and delete on the button. I do not want to hear people criticising like that. And you see that quite a lot in community pages where somebody rushes on and says, somebody's giving pish service. That's rubbish service to anybody that doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand that. Sorry, Disney. That's no word. It doesn't understand that. I keep coming up with Scottish short.
It's hard when we talk for such a long time, and it's
who doesn't understand that? That means it's rubbish. So when somebody says that on social media, you get banned and delete, because it's like it says the community pages where somebody comes on, and then immediately you say, at any point did you actually go to the owner and tell them that, rather than actually spout it on social media to everybody else and down their business,
rather than think about what the problem is and go and see how you could resolve it. And by speaking to the owner would be the first point of call.
Yeah, that would be nice. And if you feel compelled to say it on social media and it doesn't add value to anybody else's journey, then please don't.
Yeah,
because all you're doing is destroying somebody's dream.
Yeah,
and you'll be a dream stealer.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, these people will never have approached the actual business or the business owner and says, "Look, I had this experience. It was this," and then let them try and resolve that. It's like, let's just jump.
And they go, funny enough, we had a 1-star from someone. We've had 100% all the way through with our customer satisfaction. We had a 1-star from someone, and it was completely fabricated. But it's there on Trustpilot, and I'm not bothered. It's like, I couldn't care. It doesn't bother me, and I'll respond to it at some point in time. But it's from a competitor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were clearly told, it's like, well, we can't do anything because it's the solicitor that can do it, and the owner won't let you in the property just now, so it's nothing we can do. It's out of our control, and they blamed us for that. That was what they said, and it's like, how is it our problem? We've told you we can't do anything about it. We've tried, and we can't. It's their wishes. It's not ours. But no, he thinks that's unacceptable, and it's like, wait a minute, you're in the same industry. That would be the same with you as well. So you've given us 1-star for that.
Your hands would be tied. Yeah.
So I'll respond to that in good time, but I'm not letting it sidetrack me. So it's so important to understand. You go and speak to the people that actually run it first. and you don't do your dirty washing in public. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes somebody who'll dish, especially if a lot of people love that business, because you'll just get pelted with, you know,
Yeah.
with comments that you'll not like, and you're doing yourself an injustice. You're making yourself look a fool.
Yeah,
That's
especially
actually what happens.
yeah, if it's something like if it's a local popular business and you're in a town or a village or something, and you are the only one, then you'll get singled out online.
Yeah. So to come back to problem solving and stuff
Yeah,
like that, you've
yeah.
talked about ugly baby. Can I just come back to things like the missed opportunities?
Yep.
Focusing on the wrong problem, you missed opportunities to develop the right problem, the right issues. You need to do the more effective solutions. The impact on the customers. If you're solving a problem that doesn't exist and isn't a priority for your target audience, your solution will be ineffective or even unwanted. So you're doing stuff. This is like people saying, "I'm going to do this next week," and it's like, but nobody wants that. Why
Yeah.
are you doing it? And it's because some people just get involved and they just like to be serial starter uppers. Oh, I love the excitement, the energy that goes behind it. Telling people, there's a lot of people out there announce what they're going to do on social media and never do it because they love the accolade of actually doing nothing, but everybody thinking they're doing something.
Yeah.
I'm going to climb Mount Everest. It's like everybody goes, congratulations, congratulations. Wait a minute,
You've
they've
done
not
it
even
yet.
climbed it yet. They've not even climbed it yet.
You need to climb it first.
Well done. That's awesome. Like, love, like. And you never need to climb Everest, and you've got all the accolades for it. And you've
Yeah.
got people like that say things like that. Now, being hung by your tongue's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm desperately wanting to climb Kilimanjaro again in December, but then I want to go into Aconcagua over New Year because it has to be climbed over New Year. And then I want to go for the Everest Ultramarathon, which is 40 miles, 42 miles on Everest running. Now, that's been hung by your tongue. I don't want any accolade for that at all. It's just like, this is what my intention is. And we'll see. I'll see.
Yeah.
You know, that's what will happen. So that's the sort of thing you've got tonight. And defining the problem early as well is really key, because if you define the wrong problem and you go down the road, you're too late. And identifying root causes, stop the surface level issues, actually find out what's really happening. The 5 whys to dig deeper into the identity and the identified underlying causes.
It's all about it's all
yeah, asking why.
The
Why is a
question.
really good one. Well, why do you want to ask that? You could be I could be really obnoxious sometimes. Some people are like, when I go, well, why? Why would you want to do that?
I've
And it's
seen
like,
you ruffle quite a lot of feathers over the years because you ask so much questions, and people get really offended by it, and it's like, or like put their guard up. And I know that you're just asking the questions because you want to know the
well,
bigger
it's
picture.
the property investors. It's the property investors that I rub up the wrong way sometimes. That come on and they put a video on and go, "This is my latest purchase, and this is what I've done. This is how I've done it." And I'm thinking, and how does that add value to anybody else's journey except you?
Yeah.
So, and I have asked in the past. I asked a guy that was pretty prominent, and it's like, so why are you posting this on here? I mean, I'm not really sure why you're posting it. And he got really upset, and really annoyed. And he started to and the first line of defense where you know that this person hasn't got a leg to stand on is when they start to slag you off.
Yeah.
And when they start to slag you off or they start to threaten you, you know exactly you've hit a nail on the head and they're full of shit. Just let's say that. That's a nice phrase. I like that. Full of shit.
Full of shit.
Full of that. And that's the thing that I like to, because it's like they're smoke and mirrors. They're trying to attract people to what they do to invest money with them, and it's like you're just trying to make this shit up in order to get somebody's money, in order to pretend to pay them a return, and it could all go pear-shaped for them with no real security for them at all.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. That's what they're trying to do. But they're trying to do it. They're trying to do it by the back door, and I see these things coming sometimes, and I head them off at the Past on Our page, the Scottish Property Network, and they're like, "You're banned. You're off. Delete and ban." I know exactly what you're trying to do. So I take that off because I don't want any of that on my page. So identifying root causes and things, and challenging assumptions. I'll often sit there And I'll say to the other people in the room, it's like, you know, I might not always be right. So if you want to say something different, then please feel free.
Mhm.
I've not got any problem with that at all, because I might not be right what I'm saying. The AI thing was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because when I mentioned AI and I showed it to the other team, Richard, they all went,
Mhm.
"That's a great idea. We should implement that because it shows we're forefront in technology." And I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute. What about customer experience?
Yeah.
What's the first impression they get of us when they hear AI? Oh, but they'll think we're technology leaders. Is that our business? Technology leaders?
They're too busy to speak to me.
Yeah, technology leaders. It's like, I don't want to be a technology leader. I want to solve people's problems.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're talking about today. Yeah.
And I want
Finding those
that
solutions
one-to-one
for people.
connection, so people know it's us that's doing it, and it ain't AI. So how does embracing AI in that capacity help us in any way at all?
Yeah, and I think, like we've spoken about before, AI would completely take away for the company identity that we obviously have spent a lot of time building, and that's that one-to-one personal connection with clients.
I heard when I had a lot of successful Airbnb was a classic example. The guys that started Airbnb, the guys that started Netflix actually, and I think Airbnb as well, the other ones. I'm sure when I heard their story, the Netflix especially, they used to drive in the car and they used to come up with great ideas, and then they used to convince themselves how it was a rubbish idea.
Come up with a good idea and then pick it apart.
Yeah, they thought this is a good idea. Why would it not be a good idea? And they started like that. And a lot of successful businesses start like that. Why would it not be a good idea then? Look at the downside. Why would this be rubbish? What's stopping us? And Netflix came to the point. The guys actually, they were doing the DVD delivery. No, they were doing DVD delivery. Yeah, and they were in the car and they were going on about stuff. It's like this DVD delivery isn't really working very well. I mean, people are actually subscribing. They're getting DVDs sent out. They're getting them sent back, and it's working. But we're not actually getting any headway in this. And it's like we're needing to. I'm not really sure if this is going to go further forward. And so they kind of parked it and thought, well, we'll see this out and we'll see how we get on. Maybe not going to go as good as we expected. And then 3 weeks later, it was announced that digital download was available. Remember that idea we had about digital? Honestly, that's where that came from.
Yeah.
So they were almost at the point of parking it and benching it, and then one of the others phoned up and says, "I heard about digital download, bandwidth, and all the rest of it. This could be possible to stream live on television." It's like, this could be a new era for us and new technology. They jumped on it straight away and embraced it, and the DVD model disappeared. The postage DVD disappeared overnight. It's like, let's get a digital download. Let's get streaming as the way forward. And but then they were talking to themselves about, why is this not possible? Well, the technology is not there. Classic example, electric cars. Why is electric cars not possible? Most people that have bought electric cars now shouldn't have bought electric cars.
Because the technology is not quite.
The technology and the infrastructure isn't there at all. And the heartache most of them have probably gone through, quite a lot of them, to get places to charge their car, and the turmoil it's caused as a result of it. If they had known that in hindsight, they probably would have waited.
Yeah, there's a big thing with the batteries and things in them as well.
But they wanted to jump on this bandwagon, which was, I've got an electric car, I've got a Tesla, and all the rest of it. They wanted to jump on that. And that's like the television with the 40-inch, the 50-inch television. It's like, I've got a 100-inch television, but I can't see it. I can just see wee blurred images running about, pixelated. Well, it's not that good, but I've still got a 100-inch television. Like, well, what good is it to me? I'll wait till it's proven.
I suppose it comes back to like the right point in time. Like you talk about DVD to digital streaming and things.
Well, you have got to have a
quickly.
Yeah, of course. Look at Blockbuster, wiped out overnight.
But then when you look at electric cars, they're there, but they've not taken over completely because they're not at that point yet.
BYD, is it? BYD, the Chinese firm, is like, oh my God, entry-level electric car, 18 grand. It's a really good one. I saw the advert last night, and I've been reading in the paper for ages and ages and ages that, this is going to come along and wipe out Tesla. But I think Tesla's going to be an Apple, and the other ones are going to be Android. So there'll be a market for Tesla all the time because they'll have loyal followers and brand insistence.
Brand loyalty.
I just want a Tesla. But he's not just done other things as well. This is how problem solving. He's actually gone, okay, let's, with the Teslas, let's collect all this data. Let's collect all this information. Let's collect all this other stuff. Let's get this big, let's get giga farms as well for the batteries, because they'll provide, let's get storage facilities as well, because this will provide. So Tesla's not just in electric cars, they're in huge technology, leaps and bounds, way ahead of everybody else in terms of what they are. So people aren't investing in Tesla because it's Tesla in terms of stock. They're buying for Tesla because of the cars. They're buying for the technology later on. They know it's coming because they're developing it. They're buying for the AI robotics, but then the data centers you're going to have to run all this and to have all this information so AI can run correctly and run properly. That's what Tesla's invested in. So that's why. So this is the challenge in the assumptions. It's like, well, they're just an electric car company. They're not. They're way beyond that.
Yeah, they're doing a lot more.
And is the problem the real problem we're trying to solve, or is it something else we should be solving? So focus on the most pressing and, in fact, and impactful problems first to do. In essence, understand the problem is half the solution, and choosing the right problem to solve is the foundation for all successful outcomes. Couldn't have seen that as if it was written down. See, textbook answer. So you're right. Every problem is really born out of a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and that's where it got me thinking about the. Do you know? It made me, because it's a question where I'm like, every problem is born from a good idea, and I thought, right, well, it is, because you think, oh, that's a good idea, and then you do it, and then it's like, oh, right, wait a minute, but I've got to do this, or I've got to do this, and oh, this isn't going to work right. I'm going to have to find a better way to do this, and that's where, and it's like, yeah, and then it made me look into it, and it made me come up with the. Well, I didn't come up with it. Google come up with the ugly baby syndrome, and I just thought it was so kind of prolific, because I thought it's so true. And people, if they've got an idea and got a thing, they hold on to it so much because it's theirs, whether it's right or whether it's panning out the way it should be.
Says, no, this is the way I want it. You're buying steak, whether you like it or not. I just want a burger. No, you're buying steak. That's the sort of attitude, and that then comes into the resistance to change. They don't want to change. And that's often that's Kodak, that's Timex, that's Polaroid, that's all these companies. They were huge corporations in their day, no longer here.
And that resistance to changing is, and people do have that fear of change, and it's the fear. The reason is because it's like, this works the way it is. I don't want to progress forward and change things, because what if it doesn't work? And that's the fear of failure.
As soon as you're on the crest of the wave at the top, you should be thinking about changing. You should be thinking about pivoting, improving, being a leader
at that level for so long, doing what you're doing.
Yeah, because it'll go down, product life cycle. So even if you're coming to the top, you're not going to get exactly the top, but even when you're coming on the way up, you should be emerging with new technologies later on, and you should be doing things like waiting lists and stuff like that for people. You know, waiting list is like you're not spending anything, but if we're developing this product, if you're wanting to be on the waiting list when the product first comes out, you know, this could be yours before anyone else gets it. Just put your details here. Huge amount, millions of people registered. Oh my God, there's a demand for this product.
Yeah,
that's a classic example, and it's that ultimate fear of what if we fail. That's why people do not want to change. I'm so successful in what I'm doing, I don't want to change. Look at the musicians that have come and gone with the one-hit wonders.
Yeah, because they've not changed their approach.
Look at the ones that have actually changed and pivoted. And they're doing better. Look at Cammy Barnes, actually, locally here. He's moved from, you know, like the usual. The
bagpipes and the...
but he's now moved to country bagpipes, country music and bagpipes and banjos and stuff like that. It's like, oh my God, you're just getting better. And his follower increase has gone up as a result by 50% within a short period of time. It's gone from 2 to 3. So he's got 2 followers and now he's got 3. No, he's got tens of thousands. But you know what I mean? Because that's just me elaborating the fact that lies in statistics. Oh, my income's gone up in a year by 100%. All right, okay. So instead of £2, it's now £4 you're earning. That sort of thing. So
I think if you think about that on a bigger scale, and you talk about, if you use the example of like singers and things, like look at Madonna changing her image, and
that's exactly the one I was going to say.
Yeah.
What's she done to herself? What's on the what's on the face and all the rest of it. Oh my God, she's horrible. And it's like,
But keeps it
I
relevant.
don't see that. I don't see that in her pictures. So has somebody done this with AI or something like that and made her look like that deliberately? Has she done that deliberately?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That is definitely a Madonna trait, isn't it? Let's put
And
that AI
I think when
generated
you see
horrible
that,
picture.
but you see that awful picture of her, and it is quite bad. I'm like, God. But then, like you say, I've seen pictures and I thought she doesn't look like that. But then
She's
maybe,
probably done that herself. If
or
she's
it's
learned
maybe,
anything from Michael Jackson's manager, Frank Delario, is the fact that you put that in the public. The hyperbolic chamber, when he burnt
yeah,
his hair and he was
yeah,
put in an oxygen chamber, and it's like, this guy sleeps in an oxygen chamber all the time. It's like Wacko Jacko. And all
yeah,
it's like, but that's what kept him in the limelight all the time.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's what got his fan base, because not everybody is a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
Yeah.
not everybody's a fan of Bruce Springsteen, not everybody's a fan of Taylor Swift, not everybody's a fan of, Robbie Williams, not everybody's a fan of Gary Barlow. Almost forgot his name.
Like Scotty Glass.
But do you understand? It's like
Yeah.
not everybody's a fan, and that's what happens. And the fear of failure and resistance to change comes along with that, and then comes out of that is social rejection, like what you're saying here, sharing new unconventional ideas. Exposing exposes you to individual criticisms. People just do not want that, do they?
Yeah. As soon as you put yourself, like even like this, on a platform in front of people, you leave
But there's a
yourself.
ban and delete button.
Yeah.
You didn't need to let everybody. Oh, you shouldn't delete anybody's comments because it leads you to success. Bugger off! It's my platform. It's my stage. Get lost.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to say something a wee bit controversial, that's fine. But when it comes to certain things, it's like, no.
If you want to criticize me, go and do it on your own page.
Yeah.
Don't stand on my stage. It's taken me years to build, and actually do it on my stage. It's like somebody walking into your house and taking a big giant shit in your carpet in your living room.
But the reality is, if they were to voice their opinion on their own platform,
Crickets.
Who would listen?
Tumbleweed.
There would be no one there to listen because there's hardly any people
Tumbleweed.
on it.
That's exactly what it would be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crickets and tumbleweed. It's like because you've done nothing and you've got about 3 followers. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't come on my stage and rain on my parade. It's like, it's for the people that follow us. It's for the people. I mean, I don't like the thing about followers. It's like, oh, tell them. I mean, Facebook tells me now and again, you should congratulate all your followers. And here's a post. Oh, congratulations, followers. It's like, they're not following me. They just like what I do, that's all.
Yeah.
And they engage in my content, but they're not, oh, devout followers. It's like, what's all that about? But that's how some people look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the social rejection people don't want. But as I said before, you don't need to listen to these people. Here's the clue if anybody that wants to know. What other people think of you is absolutely none of your business.
I know, I like that one. It makes you
take don't listen to them. Don't engage with them.
Approach to
ban and delete button. Get off. Beat at you. 3 dots. No notifications about this post from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
And what I think, I don't think, because obviously everybody wants the social recognition, but they don't realize that that comes with it, there will be some social kind of rejection, but it's how you deal with that and how you let it affect you, or how you don't let it affect you, is the important.
The other thing is, well, every pub is born from a good idea. The one that you had in here is the thing about the difficult of implementation. You might have a fantastic idea, but the implementation process might be so difficult it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
This is why I talked about the the Netflix guys driving in the car. It's like, there's no way that that we can do digital download because there's no such thing. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 weeks later, it gets announced that they're rolling out broadband, fiber optics, and all. Whoa, wait a minute! We could do this. We could do this. We could evolve just like that. So they embrace it. That's what happens. For that reason. So these are all different things, difficult implementation. So you need to look at that first before you do anything else. There's no point in going ahead and building a huge plan and then realizing it doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's too cost prohibitive. Straight away.
It's too costly or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've done that loads of times with business opportunities. I've actually built plans on and done business, business plans on, and looked into it and looked at the market, and then eventually I've just put it in the cupboard. And there's probably some lying about in my paperwork somewhere where I've actually, the Fife Employment Gazette. That was a classic example of, this was advertising for employment. Before advertising was employment, it was just a section in your local newspaper, but I was going to do a specialist paper. But in reality, that would never have worked because I needed scale, and I never even thought about that because I was like, well, just keep it in Fife. It's like, but there's no market in Fife really on its own, and the distribution cost and the rest of it, and to do that was just cost prohibitive. So I had the right idea, but I should have thought bigger.
Because now you've got things like Indeed and things out there, which is basically
which would evolve to that eventually. So I saw it coming before it happened, but I just didn't think big enough. And it's fine. I'm all right with that. Still minted.
Yeah, you've done your own thing, so it doesn't matter. But
no, after all, that's what everybody does it for. They don't do it for anything other than just the financial reward that comes with it, and maybe a bit of adoration at the same time.
But then I was going to say you're lucky, but you're not. But you're the type of person where you're like, right, okay, shelf that and started doing something else, and that you were successful at. But other people maybe didn't think outside the box and how to and ask the questions about how to take things to the next level. Lost an idea, somebody else has picked it up, and they're left, and they've never moved on to anything else.
Yeah, unintended consequences as well. Sometimes a good idea, you don't see the negative things that could happen, and then somebody comes along and says, "Well, what about that?"
I never thought about
that. It's like, oh, we never even thought about that. Oh my God, that's going to kill it. And that's why it's so important at the development stage to make sure you understand and ask the right questions at the beginning. And then overlooking the practicalities is the other one you've got here. Focusing solely on the brilliance of the idea can sometimes lead to overlooking practical considerations such as feasibility, costs, potential impact on existing systems. And that is probably key, the potential impact on existing systems. I think that's key for there. It's the you do get the classic leaders that will say, don't rain on everybody's parade and stop being so negative. I've had it before. I've had it quite a lot. Needless to say, the businesses I've actually said that to are no longer here.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
They didn't listen.
Yeah, they weren't prepared to listen. It was their baby. That's why. It was a baby that didn't want to listen. I've got a business like that now. It's like the guy comes up with a new idea every single month. And it's like, my God, when are you going to get some traction in your existing businesses rather than keep coming up with another thing and another thing to divert your resources?
Get your existing ideas to work and
yeah. They're probably making next to nothing. And even if they stopped pioneering, pioneering is expensive, by the way. Blazing a trail is expensive because you're cutting through the jungle to pave the way for everybody else to follow, and you're paying all the costs and resources to do that. So you better be damn sure you're going to be the leader all the time, because you're usually the casualty. It happens, and then other people come to the forefront. Friends reunited. Think about that. What was the other one? Friends reunited, and there was another one.
God, I can't think now.
Well, there you go. That tells you everything.
I know what you, but I know there is another one.
There is another one, isn't there? There's another one before Facebook, but it just shows you these people. Yeah, MySpace. These people were the pioneers which blazed the trail for Facebook. Facebook didn't need to blaze that trail because they already had the pattern, but everybody else blazed that trail for them beforehand. Google, who blazed the trail for them? Ask Jeeves.
Jeeves, yeah.
Yahoo. They blazed the trail for Google.
And they just took that idea and run with it, yeah.
Yeah, there's always somebody that blazed the trail for someone else. You get the keyboard warriors all the time and go, oh, but that wasn't really, that wasn't Elon Musk's idea about the electric cars. That was someone else and he stole it. And it's like, he never stole it. He just had a better idea and he made it work better than them. You didn't steal somebody's idea. It's just like, It's like, I did it better than you. That was it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you won the boxing match. It's like, you must have cheated. Oh, I won fair and square. And there was even people there to adjudicate it, and the points was in there. So at what point do you think I cheated? It's like the horseshoe in the glove. Sneaking a horseshoe in his glove. But that's the sort of lunatic ideas that people actually think of, don't they? You must have cheated if you were better than them. It's just the way it happens. You must be selling drugs.
Yeah, if you've got lots of money, like, oh, there must be a drug dealer.
There must be oh God, I'm sure in the early days when I was building all the property and that, there was a couple of people actually thought that was what was going on. It's like,
how's he making so much? How's he been so successful?
How's he been so successful? Because we can't do that. It's like he must be doing something else. He must be cheating. He must be up to something. It's like
underhanded, yeah.
Whiter than white I am, because I am a trained accountant, and the first words that were out of my mouth from my lecturer when I came in the door for accountancy was, there's two things that you must know. Never, ever do tax evasion and tax avoidance. One is basically criminal, which is tax evasion. Tax avoidance is perfectly legal within the law.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, as times have passed, tax avoidance is even almost by public opinion, almost like criminal now.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's still legal. Another one is,
tax
do not, under any circumstances, and it was a swear word, mess with the VAT, customs and excise, because they've got more power than the police.
Yeah.
They could take you away and you'll disappear forever. And they've got powers to do that. That's the two things I was told. And the third one actually in there was, ignorance, Jim, of the law is no excuse in tax.
Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't know that. It doesn't matter.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And that applies to everything. And that's why I made sure I was whiter than white. And everything was like, I am not doing. So when you get investigated, it's like, you've got nothing to see here. Just move along, HMRC. And that's what happened a couple of months ago. It was like, you're not getting me for anything, beat it. And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll close the file. Yeah. And then next month I had to pay them 180 grand in capital gains tax. But that was normal, because they knew that was coming, because I did tell them. Nothing to see here, just let me alone and let me sort out my capital gains tax bill so I can get paid to you, 180 grand. And they went, ooh, file closed.
Then that's because you spend a lot of time making sure that your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I've learned of Richard Branson, actually, as well. You know, when I read his first book and what he tried to do with the VAT in the very beginning, and he was sending it was perfectly legal loophole at that time. He was sending and exporting the records out to import them back in with no VAT on them, and then sell them at a lower price or make a bigger margin. Mm-hmm. And while that was frowned upon, it was borderline illegality, and he got into serious trouble. And he said that was the last time ever I would ever do that. But he did that in his early days, and he learned a very valuable lesson from that.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people have learned a very valuable lesson as well, including myself. It's like, you just didn't do that. I mean, it'll come back to haunt you at some point in time in the future, or it'll always be on your mind. You'll never be able to say to yourself, I'm whiter than white.
Yeah. No, and I think when we talk about problem solving, and we'll start to wrap it up, but I think what we've established in this show, I think, is that whether you're in business, whether it's your personal relationships, whether it's just your day-to-day life, you'll always have some sort of problem to solve. It's about how you approach that problem and think about and ask the proper questions in order to find the solution. Yeah. And do you know what? And problem solving can be quite, I mean, I'm not going to dress it up as something really exciting, but to be able to find the solution to problems and can be quite a gratifying thing if you could find the solutions and find the right path to solve things. And
it'd be a real boring life if you didn't have any problems to solve. Oh my God, everything was easy. Everything was easy. You would. I think. I'll be honest. I think the suicide rate would probably go up if it was all easier.
Yeah, if it was too easy. Yeah.
We are machines, human machines. You know, blood and tissue and all the rest of it,
Yeah.
designed to. That is our thing.
To
Whereas, like, you've got a cat, it's like got
stimulate.
Fleming Freddy Krueger. You've got a cat, Freddy Krueger, and Dracula. It'll maul you to death. As humans, the only thing we've got going for ourselves is our thoughts, our thinking process, our creativity, and how we approach things. And that makes us probably one of the most dangerous animals on the planet.
Yeah, your mind. I think people day to day just forget how powerful the human brain is and what we could actually achieve with it. And people just don't ever even really use it to its full potential.
And the damage that can be done with it.
Yes.
Think about that. The amount of wars that are going on right now, and it's all because of people's thoughts. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah. But problem solving, I mean, it's a topic that you could see we've just went off in so many different directions with that, but it all comes back to problem solving and finding.
If I'm voting into power, I'm gonna end the war in Ukraine.
Yeah. I quite believe it, Jim.
That's believable. I'll probably make a better effort than Trump.
Well, we'll not go down that road, but
you see what I mean? But see how it was said with conviction, how that could be. So nobody would believe me, but they believe him, and it's like it's no ended yet. It's probably even worse.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll wrap up today. That was really good. Thanks for that session, Jim. I hope you all enjoyed that. We will be back, of course, next Monday, 12:30 as usual. We will see you then. I don't think we have a topic set up yet, but I will have something really interesting to talk about. Yeah.
Okay. Got some rubbish to talk about.
Catch you next time, Jim. Thanks for that, and see you later.
See you later.